This is a 2022 Porsche 911, and back then, Porsche was king with an 18% profit margin. They were the envy of every car company on the planet. But fast forward to 2025, and that margin just cratered to 1.1%. Porsche just announced Strategy 2035 to get leaner and faster, but that really means the end of the overbuilt era where engineering had no budget. Today, we're looking at the math behind this collapse and what it means for the build quality of your next 911. But the real danger isn't on the balance sheet, it's in the parts of your next Porsche that you can't see. The components that used to be bulletproof but are now being redesigned by a spreadsheet. I'll show you exactly which parts are on the chopping block in a few minutes. Let's get started. Now, that 1.1% margin is absolutely insane for a luxury brand. To put that in perspective, if you bought a $100,000 Porsche last year, the company only kept $1,100 in profit. Most of this pain comes from overextending on the electric vehicle dream. Porsche bet the farm that you wanted a battery-powered future, but the market didn't show up, so they've launched Strategy 2035. Internal projections suggest this realignment is costing them 2.4 billion euros just to rescale. That is a staggering amount of money to spend just to stop the bleeding. When you look at the balance sheet, two anchors are dragging them down. First, there's the cost of reversing their EV strategy. Then you have another 700 million euro hit from US tariffs projected for 2025. Imagine losing nearly $1 billion to taxes before you even turn the lights on. The sales numbers tell a darker story in what used to be their biggest piggy bank. Sales in China are slumping as buyers move toward domestic brands. Porsche executives call this value-oriented supply management. But that's just corporate speak for we can't find enough buyers. When your cars are sitting on lots and you have to cut production, you aren't managing value. You're trying to survive a demand crisis. But while the rest of the lineup struggles, 911 sales jumped 22%. The most expensive traditional car they make is the only thing people want. The 911 is literally keeping the lights on in Stuttgart, protecting the brand from total irrelevance. But even a halo can't fix the China problem. For years, China was an unlimited credit line, but that dream is over. Chinese buyers are moving toward domestic brands, and the economy has cooled. This forced Porsche to start playing defense. They aren't trying to conquer new markets anymore. Porsche is calling this value-oriented supply management. But there's a specific reason why their biggest piggy bank suddenly stopped paying out, and it's a mistake they can't undo. We'll get to that when we look at the collector's verdict at the end of this video. This shift from 18% down to 1.1% changes everything. When you have money to burn, you can obsess over every nut and bolt. You can over-engineer a door handle just because it feels better. But when you're fighting for every penny, that obsession becomes a luxury. We're seeing the end of the era where engineering had a blank check. Now, every single part has to justify its cost. And that brings us to how they're actually going to cut those costs, which is where things start to get really painful. When profit margins evaporate, a company stops looking at what's cool and starts looking at what's essential. Porsche is shutting down 3 major subsidiaries that were supposed to be their ticket to the future. They are closing Cellforce, their bet on high-performance battery cells, because it no longer has a sufficiently viable long-term perspective. They're shuttering Seditech, the software firm, and even killing off their electric bike unit. This isn't just a minor reshuffle. This is Porsche admitting their dream of becoming a broad tech company is over. They are retreating back to being a car company because they cannot afford the distractions. By cutting over 500 jobs across Germany and Croatia, Porsche is sending a clear message. The era of infinite resources in Stuttgart has ended. They wanted to own the battery supply chain and write every line of code in-house. Now they're walking away because the market changed. It's a strategic retreat. They are amputating the periphery to save the heart of the business. If it doesn't directly help build a sports car, it's getting the axe. This consolidation goes all the way to the top. They've reduced the executive board and folded car IT directly into R&D. That sounds smart, but it means a loss of engineering slack. When software and hardware fight for the same budget, the obsession with tiny details loses to cost cutting. In the old days, teams could iterate until it was perfect. Now they have to hit a number. CEO Michael Leaders is initiating headcount reductions for the first time. This is the end of the overbuilt era. When fewer people do the same amount of work, you lose the ability to obsess over what made a Porsche feel different from a fast Audi. You lose that extra layer of scrutiny. Porsche tried to be a Silicon Valley tech firm and got burned. Now they are trying to find their way back to the garage. But what happens to the soul of the machine when the innovators are shown the door? Every time a department is folded, a piece of that legendary Porsche independence disappears. They are becoming leaner, but also thinner. When you cut more than 500 specialists, you lose decades of institutional knowledge. You lose the people who would spend 5 years perfecting a sensor just because they could. This is how you lose the bespoke calibrations and the tactile weight that define the brand. It's the price of survival when a 1.1% margin is the new reality. So how does a brand like this survive when the floor falls out? CEO Michael Leaders has a very specific answer. You double down on the legends. The strategy now is to lean harder than ever into high-margin models like the 911 and the GT cars. If you've been looking for a new combustion-powered Macan or a 718 Cayman lately, you've probably noticed they're just gone from the configurator in major markets. That isn't a temporary supply chain issue, it's an execution. Porsche has officially discontinued these models to make room for an all-electric future that the market isn't even sure it wants yet. By killing off the entry-level internal combustion cars, they are ensuring that every available microchip, every hour of assembly line time, and every gram of carbon credit goes toward protecting the 911. They are sacrificing the children to keep the king healthy. This creates a massive investment risk for you, the buyer. You see, when a company starts amputating the periphery, that cost-cutting doesn't stay confined to the software offices in Croatia. It eventually bleeds into shared components of the Halo cars. Think about the suspension bushings, the climate control modules, or the seat sensors. In the 18% margin era, those parts were often bespoke or over-engineered to a fault. But under a leaner mandate, the pressure to find efficiencies is relentless. Porsche is being forced to look at parts commonality across the broader VW group just to claw back some of that lost profit. If they can save 50 euros per car by using a shared window motor from a generic SUV, the current financial reality says they have to do it. There's a philosophy at play here that focuses entirely on being leaner. While it sounds good in a shareholder meeting, it fundamentally changes how Porsche interacts with its suppliers. In the past, Porsche could demand total flexibility and unique specifications because they paid a premium. Now they are coming to the table with a much weaker hand. They need their suppliers to cut prices, which means those suppliers are going to start offering off-the-shelf solutions instead of the custom engineering that defined the brand for decades. The 911 is essentially the last stand. It's the one car they dare not cheapen because if the 911 loses its soul, the brand is dead. But as everything around it gets trimmed, the 911 becomes an island of quality in a sea of cost-optimized products. The 911 is an island, but even islands need supplies. There is one specific component, something you touch every single time you drive, that is about to be replaced by a generic VW Group part to save 50 euros. If you're buying a 992.2, you need to know what it is. Stop. Look at your current steering column stock. feel the weight of it and that mechanical, high-quality click. Now, look at this. It's a plastic unit from a Volkswagen Tiguan. In 18 months, that's exactly what you'll be touching every time you change lanes in a six-figure sports car. It sounds like a small thing, but for a brand built on tactile perfection, this €50 savings for Porsche is a €5,000 problem for your future resale value. You have to ask yourself, what happens when the 911 is the only thing left that feels like a real Porsche? The brand is shifting from being engineering-led to margin-led. They are protecting the halo at all costs, but the cost might be the very thing that made you fall in love with the brand. When you look at a 992.2, look closer. Is that a Porsche-specific component or a lean solution for a balance sheet? The 911 is being defended by a company in a defensive crouch. They are no longer building the best cars they can. They are building the best cars the new budget allows. That is a fundamental shift in Zuffenhausen. The pedestal is still there, but the foundation is being rebuilt with cheaper bricks. So, is the era of the investment-grade Porsche over? Not quite. There is one specific model sitting in showrooms right now that represents the absolute peak of the overbuilt era. And it's the one car I'm betting my own money on. It is the gold standard for what Porsche used to be before the accountants started winning every argument. The overbuilt Porsche you fell in love with was a product of a specific era defined by the cost of obsession. When you have an 18% margin, you can afford to let engineers spend 4 years perfecting the damping of a glove box door. But at 1.1%, the clock starts ticking differently. You no longer have the financial runway to obsess over the feel of a component. The development cycles get shorter, and the obsession gets replaced by the spreadsheet. We are moving away from mechanical precision into software-defined manufacturing. Software is a great place to hide cost cutting. It's cheaper to put a function inside a screen than to engineer a physical weighted button. When you look at the newest interiors, ask yourself if you're seeing innovation or a balance sheet correction. A screen is a lean solution. A bespoke mechanical clock is an overbuilt one. This has massive implications for investment value. A Porsche used to be a 30-year car. But a leaner Porsche feels more like a 10-year tech product. When you cut engineering slack, you're prioritizing the initial lease period over the long-term experience. The car is designed to be efficient to build, but the bulletproof nature that made Porsche a safe investment is being eroded. I'm going to stop the analysis for a second and talk to you as a fellow owner. I didn't just research these profit margins, I put my own capital on the line. When I bought my GTS 4.0, it was a calculated move to get ahead of this shift. If you're sitting on a six-figure allocation right now, ask yourself one question. Are you buying a car built to be a legend or a car built to fix a balance sheet? If you want the last of the uncompromised era, you need to look at the 718 GTS 4.0. I've talked about this car before, but in the context of Strategy 2035, it takes on a whole new level of importance. I actually bought one of these myself because I recognized it as a moment-in-time car. This car was developed when the margins were high and the engineering slack was still thick. When Porsche decided to put that big 4.0-liter naturally aspirated flat six back into the Boxster and Cayman, they weren't doing it because a spreadsheet told them it was efficient. They did it because the engineers won the argument. Think about the car's existence. They had a functional turbo 4-cylinder that met all emissions targets. But the engineers knew the soul was missing, so they grabbed a modified 911 engine and shoved it into their entry-level sports car. That is engineering slack, spending money on a feeling rather than a metric. It exists because Porsche had the financial runway to be obsessed with the enthusiast experience. But the internal combustion 718 is being killed off for an EV version that is struggling. The GTS 4.0 is a safe haven for your capital. It represents the last moment before the accountants took the keys. When you drive a GTS 4.0, you feel that it wasn't designed to hit a 1.1% margin target. It was designed to hit a red line. As Strategy 2035 trims the soul out of the future lineup, these overbuilt survivors are the only places where Porsche DNA remains pure. Once job cuts and subsidiary closures hit the production line, the cars will change. You cannot remove over 500 specialists and shut down software divisions without it showing up. That generic VW part I mentioned, the steering column stalks. In the overbuilt era, those were tactile and unique. In the lean era, they're plastic units from a Tiguan. It's the canary in the coal mine. Porsche's reality check makes over-engineered cars like the GTS 4.0 more valuable. They represent the peak of a philosophy being dismantled. They are the cars built by a dream, not a deficit. Porsche is ultimately choosing survival over the luxury of over-engineering. The 911 is no longer just a halo. It's becoming an isolated island of quality in a sea of cost-optimized products. The era of the bulletproof, entry-level Porsche is likely over. The brand is changing from an engineering dream into a disciplined business. If you're still pulling the trigger on a new one despite these massive structural cuts, let me know why in the comments. Subscribe for more deep dives into the Porsche market.